I know you've heard the saying, good artists create, great artists steal. And while we don't necessarily want to steal, we definitely can get inspired by some other creators out there. And if you're trying to be a content creator, I actually highly recommend looking at what all the other content creators are doing and like looking at their ideas and the way they structure their content and starting to really learn from that, right? It's really hard to start a channel if you're just putting things out there that you think might resonate with people. Like, take cues from what other people are already doing successfully in order to incorporate into what you're doing. So today what I want to do is I'm going to show you how you can scrape the TikTok profiles of some of your favorite creators in your niche, and you can get all the data from their TikToks. It's going to come in. It's going to look like this. It's going to have the creator name, the video title, the source, a link to their video, the duration, how many views they have, the likes, the comments, and the shares, right? So this is like a really great way to get an understanding of what other creators are doing. And it allows you to sort this in a way where you can see what people are really, engaging with and what's resonating with them, right? You can sort this by the number of views. And so that shows what people are really liking, the type of content maybe you want to create moving forward. So what we're going to do, all you need is you need make.com, which is free to get started. You need Airtable, which is free to get started. And we're going to use this data extractor, this TikTok scraper from Appify. It costs $4 per 1,000 results, which is really pretty cheap if you think about that. It doesn't cost much at all to run this a few times. And so what I want to do, I'm going to walk you through exactly, what this scenario does in make.com, how to scrape the TikTok profiles, kind of what's going on here. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to build this ourselves. So I'm just going to walk you through this right now. It's pretty cool. It's really simple. The other thing that it's doing is not just scraping these profiles. And so I have this chatgpt model here, and what this is doing here is it's looking at all the results that come in from the TikTok scraper, all the video titles and the view counts and things like that, and it's pulling out like relevant themes and topics and keywords and things like that, and it's taking those and it's actually generating new ideas from the best performing content. So this is what I mean why we don't want to steal the ideas of other people, but we can get inspired by them, and we can even use ChatGPT to identify what's performing well, to figure out why it's performing well, and then to create some new ideas for content that we could then create ourselves after that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to walk you through this right now and show you what each one of these little modules does, and then we're going to build it ourselves. So this first one here, this is just the set multiples variable module, and all this is you're putting in the handles of the TikTok people whose profiles you want to scrape. It doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many you want to do, you can put this in here. If you just want to scrape one profile, you can just put this in. If you want to scrape 10, you can put that in too. And what we're doing is now we're running these through an Appify actor, and you can see here, these are all just the channel names that are coming in here. So this just allows us to really easily swap out the channel names and come in here. And we'll get into this JSON format. Don't get overwhelmed by this. Like it's actually pretty straightforward. You really don't need to touch it at all. And basically what we're doing is this comes straight from Appify here. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can grab that and bring this into your scenario. This Appify module is just getting the data set. So once the actor runs and it scrapes all the profiles, it's just going to return that information in a bunch of data. And then this module is just like pulling that into a format that we can understand. This is aggregating all the content. It's grabbing all the important fields. We can basically kind of select which fields we want to pull down, like, the created time, how much it's been shared, the URL for the video, how many times it's been commented on, and things like that. And then it's going through each one of those. It's grabbing them all as a single package per video, and it's just kind of going one at a time down the list through with this iterator. So it's just kind of then going to create a record one at a time in our Airtable database right here. And then the last thing we're doing is the new idea generation, right? And so the way we're doing that is we're just taking all the text and the views. So basically from all the videos that we scrape, every video title and every view count, and we're just putting that all into ChatGPT here. We're aggregating it all together right here. And basically this is just creating one single text, string of text output that ChatGPT can then look at. And it's just going to put this down here, and we're just basically telling it, create a brief summary describing what the idea for the video is and the specific steps necessary to achieve the result. And we want to make sure it's specific. And we're messaging ChatGPT Assistant that I've set up here, and I'll go ahead and show you that. And I'll even give you the prompt for that if you want, so you don't have to create it yourself. Then we're just parsing the JSON, so that's it's understandable. A JSON is basically just a string of values. It's a value and a key. It's actually a key and a value. Sorry. It's a key and a value. And so the key being like description, and then whatever the description is, right, is the value. And then again, it's just creating a new record in Airtable. I have this new ideas field. It has the idea, And then it has this detailed description of exactly what that idea is. So let's go ahead and get started building this out ourselves. And you'll have a really good understanding about how to build something like this for yourself. And really what's really cool about this is you can take this data and you can do whatever you want with it. If you have other ideas for how you can use AI and ChatGPT to really get more value from the data you're extracting, like use it, right? This is just one possible route that you can take, one scenario we can set up in make.com to kind of have cool, new, interesting access to this data. So I have a brand new scenario here, and we're just going to go ahead and get started kind of with a set multiples variable module, right? So if you come in and you click the plus button and search for tools, you can search for tools and you can click show more, and you want to set multiple variables, right? And you can name these whatever you want. Channel, you can just name them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's just do 3 of them for today because that's nice and easy. And the variable names, we're just going to grab those from other TikTok creators. So there are a couple of TikTok creators that I like, in the AI space. So Sabrina Romanov, like really cool, really awesome information. Go check her out if you haven't already. Has great tips for how to use ChatGPT. So we can just go ahead and we can copy her name in here. And there's a couple other cool ones. Fazia Mashi, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He's got some good advice. So let's just go ahead and we'll just paste these in. Tech2AI. Let's go with Oleg. Oleg XYZ, also really interesting. So a couple new creators for you if you don't know them already, right? You can just go over to TikTok, grab their handles, and click OK. So this is it. We set this up, and you can just go ahead. If we click run once, you can see now we have these 3 outputs, 1, 2, 3, and we can grab these later in our scenario. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set up Apify, right? And Apify is really great. It just has it's basically a database of what they call actors. I don't honestly even know what that means, but it's basically just kind of like a script that will run for you, and you can pull this in. So basically, this script is just saying, scrape TikTok and pull down this information. If you come and look in the JSON, you can kind of see some of the results that it has. You can like take the cover images, you can take the subtitles, you can load the videos. We don't really need all that currently. All we need is just kind of like the basic title, name of the creator, and some of the view counts and things like that information. The engagement metrics is what we're really after in this case. And so we're using the TikTok data extractor right now from Clockworks. And so if you come into Apify and create an account, it's free to create an account, and they give you $5 free per month in credits to use. So it's free to get started. And with $4 per 1,000 results, you got $5 worth of credits every month. You can get 1,200 results or so from that. So if you don't see this yet, you just want to come over to the store, and they have all sorts of things. You can scrape Google Maps, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can scrape YouTube even. And so you just come in here and we type in TikTok, and the first one that shows up for me is this Clockworks free TikTok scraper, the data extractor. So we want to have this here, right? And so the thing we need to do here just to see how this works is you can come down here and you can import. It's actually going to start. I'm just going to restore the default input here just to show you what it looks like when you first come here. So when you first come here, there's not going to be anything in here. This is number of videos per hashtag, profiles, and there aren't any usernames in here right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some usernames in here that we have for now. I'll add myself in here too, right? So we just have 2 for now. And basically the reason that we're doing this is we really just want to have access to this actor. So to have access to this, just come down to the bottom and click save. And this is basically going to add the actor to your list of actors. And this is going to allow us to access this in make.com through that Apify module that we have going right here. So we just want to make sure we have access to it later. So make sure you click save. So what this is doing is this is giving us all the data we need for the JSON. And really this JSON is actually the most important part of this actor, because this is the thing we need to bring into make.com to have access to this actor and to be able to scrape the profiles. And you can see that the names that we typed in before are right here. And all we need to do is we just want to copy and paste this entire thing. You don't even need to know what this means or what this is doing. And so what we're going to do is we're into our scenario here, and we want to make sure we name this. So let's just call this TikTok scraper. Great. Out of space, for good measure. Hit the plus and just search Apify, right? So here it is, Apify. And what we want to do is we want to run an actor. So you're going to need to create an Apify connection. If you come in here and you come into your settings and you're going to go into the API and integrations, you'll create a personal API token, and you're going to just copy these, come into add new connection, and you're going to end up just pasting the API in here. And it's really easy to create a connection once you set that up. It doesn't cost anything extra to have access to the API, just again, those credits that I mentioned. So that's really great. So once we have that all set up and the connection's working, we just come into the actor here. And we want to use this Clockworks free TikTok scraper, right? So that's what we're using. The only other thing we need to add is the input JSON. You can press Command V and it comes in and it looks like this. It's kind of a mess. But if you press Shift Command V, it's going to match the formatting of what we copied. So this is just like nicer to look at. Like it just looks nicer. It's easier to understand what's going on here. And that's really all we need from this, right? And so we can just come down to the bottom and we can click OK. And so the thing we want to do now is we want to actually pull in these variables that we have into this Appify actor. And the reason that I set it up this way is like, we can always go in and we could change these out if we wanted to. But for some reason, I find it easier to just come into here and have these different variables and just be able to copy and paste new handles into here, into this tool setting, and just have it automatically update in Appify. That way I don't need to come back into the Appify actor. So we can just go ahead and see here in the parentheses, we can just go ahead and remove this. And here we can just grab number 1. Great, that's 1. We can remove me. We can just go ahead and click number 2. And now see, we have actually a third one, but we don't have room for it here. But what's really cool is this is really clear how this is formatted, right? So we just want to add a comma at the end here. And then we can go ahead and we can just really copy and paste number 1 here. And we can just hit, just space this over. I don't even think you need to add these spaces. It's just because it looks nicer. Just copy that, paste that in. Delete this, and we can just click number 3, and now we have number 3, right? So you can see how if we had 10 of these, this would be a really easy to set up. And results per page, let's just go with 3 results per page. That's all we need for this. And the only other thing that we need to do is we want to make sure that we check run synchronously. This is actually a big deal. Don't forget to check this. Basically what this means is it takes a little bit of time for the Appify actor to scrape the profiles and get all the data that we need. And if we don't check this, the scenario in make.com is going to try to move on to the next step before the actor has finished running, and you're just going to encounter an error and you're not going to get any data from it. So you just want to make sure this is checked, and what's going to happen is that the scenario is going to wait until the actor has completely finished scraping all the data before it moves on to the next thing. That way we make sure we actually get the results every single time. So if we want, we can just go ahead and we can click run once, right? And so we set this out, we see we have our 3 handles in here, and you can see that the Appify actor is running, and it really doesn't take very much time. I would say probably within, it's certainly less than a minute, you should have all the data that you need. So it's doing its thing in the background, it's scraping the profiles, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna grab the data from this and then start to work with it in a more usable format. In the meantime, we can begin setting up our Airtable database. So this is the Airtable database that I have. I just call them other creators. I don't know what you want to call them. And we can just go ahead and we can set this up brand new. So I'm in this workspace right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and click create after you create your Airtable account. Again, this is free to use. And I'm just going to start from scratch, right? And we're just going to call this TikTok ideas. Great. Great. And we can just see what we have here. We have the creator name, the video title, and a summary. So we pop back over here. We can just change this to creator name. This is video title. And the last thing we have is a summary here. We can just go ahead, go on the arrow, duplicate this field. We'll just type in summary. Now, I have both TikTok and YouTube in this database. Right now, we're just using TikTok, so we actually don't need this source field. But if you want it, you can set that up really easily. But we do want a video link, and we want some of the engagement statistics that are coming in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert a field to the right, and I'm going to make this the URL field. And so we're going to just name this URL, and we're going to pull the URL in. And I'm going to show you how to get this so you have a nice clickable button so that when you click this button, it opens up a link and it takes you straight to the page. Really nice, really easy to use. So we'll set that up after we begin to pull in some data. So here we have the duration. I believe this is in seconds, which is great. And we'll just insert another field to the right, and we'll make this single line text, and we'll call this duration. And then we have views, likes, comments, and shares. So let's just go ahead and roll those really quick. We got views, duplicate again, likes, comments, one more time, and shares. And we can just go ahead and we can delete these last 2 fields because we don't need them. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. I'm actually going to get rid of all of these cells because these don't have any information in them, and we want to start fresh. So if we come back over to make.com, this is great. We can see this actor has finished running. And if we go and we look in the output, this doesn't make any sense to us, right? This literally doesn't mean anything. So this is where we need this other module here, get data set items, because right now it's giving us a data set, but it's like we can't interpret it in the way that it exists currently. If we want to connect another Apify module, and we just go ahead and click Get Dataset Items. We'll use our same connection. And if you just come into Dataset ID, you can see all of the outputs that are coming from this actor. And you can see here, if we hover, it starts to pulse on the side. And actually, we don't want this top ID number, but if you type in data, you can come down here and you can see the default dataset ID is the thing that we want to plug in here. So if we just go ahead and we plug that default dataset ID in there, data transformation clean, the format is JSON, and the limit is 100 for the number of items to return. So let's just go ahead and we'll click OK. And I'm going to run this one more time to scrape all those profiles. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to get a nice clean list of everything that we really want. All the likes, views, comments, shares, video titles, video descriptions, all the good stuff, and the creator name. So let's just give that a second to run here. And really, this is the bulk of what we're doing. Like, this is the hardest part, honestly. Great, and so this is finished running. And now that we have this get dataset items here, now you can start to see the outputs, right? Now we can see the text, massive update from Google. We can see the author metadata that's created by Oleg, who is, remember, if we go in here and look here, he was one of our creators that we used. And we just pulled in 3 results from every one of these creators. So check out the link in my bio, Jason AI, so on and so on. Paid versus free AI tools that you need, and you can start to see the creative time. You can see the dig count, which is what they call like counts for some reason. You can see how many times it's been shared, the play count, which is how many times it's been viewed, and like how many times it's been commented on, right? So there's lots of really great stuff in here that we can pull from to kind of let us know, what people are engaging with the most. And so now what we want to do is we want to take all of these outputs and we want to move them into our database just so we have them, right? We can categorize them and we can save them for later. So what we want to do here is we need this array aggregator and the iterator. And so again, what that's doing is that's collecting all the data from the module, and then it's going through them one at a time, iterating through them one at a time, and storing them into the Airtable that we created. So if we just come in here and we type in aggregator, this is the flow control. And if we select the source module, which will be the get dataset items here, and then we can go ahead and we can select all the things that we want in this list. So we want the text, we have the creator time, the author metadata. We definitely want the URL, the dig count, the share count, the play count, the comment count. And I think that might be it. Let me just go ahead and double check what I have selected here. Basically the same stuff. I also have the collect count and the video metadata. Just want to make sure we've got everything that we can, and just go ahead and click OK. So next we want to do is we want to attach the iterator. So if we come in and we just type in iterator, and we just select the array that's coming out of the aggregator before, so you can see it pulsing again. And all we have to do is select the array here. So again, what that's going to do is going to go through the outputs one at a time, and then it's going to store them in our Airtable database. So we just got to click the plus one more time, and we can search for Airtable. And what we want to do is we want to create a record. And I have a working Airtable connection. And again, you're going to want to set this up. So I'm just going to go ahead. If you come into Airtable and you go into the Builder Hub here, you can see you have all these access to your personal access tokens. This is the thing you want. They're deprecating the API keys, I believe. And so I just have this working Airtable token. And really, I'm just going to add the base that we just created. So if I scroll down here, we have this TikTok idea space. There's some videos on there. If you want a video about how to create your own API key and really get this set up and linked correctly, please let me know in the comments, and I'll make a short video on how to do this. It's actually pretty easy. You should be able to figure it out. And so if we're in here, I have the working Airtable connection. And if I go to the base, and the base that we're using is this TikTok ideas base that we just created. So great, we already see it. The table is this table 1. And once we go ahead and select that, now you can see these are all the columns that we created, right? The name, the title, the summary, the URL, duration, et cetera, et cetera. So what's really cool is we can go ahead and we'll be able to start to grab these from the iterator once we've run it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to unlink this, and I'm just going to run this one more time, because sometimes what needs to happen is you need to run through the scenario in order to populate the data through these modules in order to have access to them. I wish there was like a way around this, because it feels like it should intuitively like know what I'm going to pull in, but also I guess that doesn't entirely make sense. And so we're just going to let this run one more time. It's going to scrape all the TikTok profiles again. It's going to run this through the rest of the scenario. Look, it only took a couple seconds. And so you can see here how this aggregates all the things that we need. And then once here, we can go ahead and we can see it's just going to iterate through them one at a time. So now we go to the Airtable record and we still don't see it. Sometimes it has like this weird issue where it can't see the new data. And so if we just create, the module again, usually if we go to create a record and create it again, usually it solves that problem. So we can just go ahead and we'll go through this again. I'm not sure why it's like that, but it is. And so if we come down to TikTok ideas and table 1, And now we can come in here and now we see we have access to everything coming out of this iterator module, right? So for the creator name, we want to come in here and we can find the creator. It says nickname here, or this is actually the handle is this name. And then the nickname is kind of like the thing that says up at the top. So I think we actually want to grab this name, which is their handle, right? And so if we want, we could have added a section for the profile URL if we want to make sure we have access to the URL, but we did not need that here. Video title is just going to be the text. The summary, we don't actually have a summary. We can create that with ChatGPT later if we want. The URL is going to be the video URL, and that's down here, the web video URL. The duration, let's see, where's the duration at? It's in the video metadata, right? So you can see the height, the width, and the direction. So this is only 20 seconds. So let's just go ahead and click that. And the total number of views is going to be up top. That's the play count here. So we just want to connect the likes, and we go for likes, and that's going to be this dig count up top here. Come into comments, we grab the comment count, and shares, we grab the share count. They're kind of all over the place. You might have to dig to them a little bit, but then we're all set up, and we can just go ahead and click OK. So that's really great. This is basically the first part of this. This is all set up for you now. If you want to go ahead and start looking at different creators and what content they're creating that's working for them, this is all you need. This is 6 modules really here. It's super simple to set up. Shouldn't take you any time at all. And literally you can come in, you could run this like once a month or something. And if the last thing that's Amplify Actor here, you can say scrape last N days. And so like last 30 days, that makes sure it's grabbing only content from the last month, or you could set this to 7 days and only look at the last week of content or however long you want, right? So that's really nice. So we're going to just go ahead, and if we click this run and run this one more time, we should go ahead and see this run through, scrape all the data, iterate through each one of those results, and then transfer that record over into Airtable. We can store it. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect this to ChatGPT to take what's working well from these videos and to generate brand new ideas for us so we can start creating our own original content. So here we go. It's done. It ran this through. You can see all the different operations. Here are all the outputs. And if we pop into our TikTok database, you can see right here, we have the creator name, the video title, the URL, the duration, views, likes, comments, and shares. And so if we wanted to, we could sort this by the views, right? We can click views, and right now I sort this A to Z. We can go Z to A, and now the videos with the most views are up at the top here. And so you can just kind of double click and come in and go to this link. But what I really like to do is I like to have a button. I don't know, you just don't have to double click it. It looks nicer. Personal preference, that's just me. So what I'm just going to do is show you how to step that up really quick. Just insert a field to the right, and we're just going to call this video link. And if you scroll down to the bottom here, you should have a button. So just go ahead and click OK, and we can label this video. And I like this blue and white button color. And the formula that we want to use is if you just type the left bracket, it'll start to bring up all the other fields that we have in this database. And so if you just click URL and click create field, now we say OK. And so instead of having to double click this link, you can just click this video once and it's going to open up the video the same way. Again, personal preference. I just think it's nicer. And then you can come up here, you could hide fields, and you can just hide the URL so you don't have to look at it. And now you have these nice buttons. And so every time you add a URL to this, which will just happen automatically when you run the scenario, it'll create this button for you. You can just go ahead and use it. Cool. And so the next part of the scenario, you can see we're aggregating all the text that's coming out of this iterator. All the video data that we need, we're throwing into ChatGPT, and then we're just creating new records from that. So let's go ahead and build this out real quick. So the next thing we want to do at the end of this module is we want to have a text aggregator. And so what this does, it just takes text from an array and it just kind of combines it into one single string of text. And so if we come in here and we just grab the iterator, and the text that we want is we want the name of the video. And then if we just hit enter, we can type in play count. We can come down here into the play count and click OK. And so basically all it's going to do is it's just going to grab the title of the video and the play count. So that's really all we need to feed into ChatGPT so that it knows what type of content we like. So we're just going to go ahead and add another module here, and you can just type in ChatGPT, OpenAI, and I like to message an assistant. And so let me open up platform.openai.com, which is really where you go to create these assistants. And the reason I really like assistants is because you can see how many of them I have, right? And so if I'm linking to these in multiple make.com scenarios, if I want to make a change to one of them, I just come in here and I update it once, and it has a ripple effect across everything that's happening in make.com. So I don't have to go into each individual scenario and update it on its own. And so the assistant that I'm messaging here is this YouTube idea generator. And it just says, you're an expert in social media and content creation with the focus on AI and automations. Analyze the provided data, which consists of YouTube video titles, in our case, it's TikTok video titles, And your task is to create new video ideas based on the best performing content as quantified by view count. So it's going to look at the titles and then it's going to look at the view count and it's going to say which of these do people tend to like, which has the most views. And it's going to rank them from most to least relevant. It's going to identify common themes. It's going to suggest related content, and it's going to consider the creator's niche and expertise, et cetera, et cetera. And then it has like a little format for how to output this and some examples of effective titles and things like that. And so just go ahead and click save. If you want access to that prompt, just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to give it to you. So if we come back into make.com, we just want to make sure we're finding our assistant down here, and it's the YouTube idea generator. And since we already have this nice message, I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to copy and paste this into here using the same format, right? And so I'm asking it to do everything that I had in the assistant and also to create a brief summary describing what the idea for the video is and the steps necessary to achieve the result and to be specific, right? So it's like, okay, if it has like an idea for you that's like keyword rich, but like it's not really telling you how to like make that video or what you should do. So that's why I had it to describe what the idea for the video is. And you can get as detailed as you want in these prompts. If you literally want this to create an outline of the video for you or to create a brand new video script, like you could have it do that here. So all we want to do is I'm just going to replace this and I'm just going to grab the text from the text aggregator that's actually in our scenario. And then here's just a little bit of information about how to format the output. So this is in a JSON format. Again, we have the key, which is the idea, and then the value, your idea. So put your ideas and stuff in there. So this is just to know how to output it so that we can grab each one of these pieces individually. And so once it outputs in that JSON format, what we want to do is we just want to parse the JSON. And so by parsing the JSON, it's really just going to give us access again to like the title and the summary, right? The description of what that thing is. It's just going to break them off into separate pieces so that we can grab them individually and insert them into different fields inside of Airtable. And so let's go ahead and let's run this through one more time. And so we can see how this works. Okay, so you can see in just a couple seconds, it already went and it created our new Airtable record. And if we're in here, you're going to see it did like double them up because we already had them. But if we, didn't, we have them now, right? And so it went and our ChatGPT read the results. And if we go in here and we can see the output from the text aggregator, it's all of these different things here, right? It's the text and the views. And this is what got fed in this long string of text into ChatGPT. But it's able to understand that. And after kind of researching it, here are the new ideas it had. Why Google's AI update matters. And then it's a description of what it is. Tipsy Robot, the future of bartending. Dive into the world of AI bartending with the Tipsy Robot in Vegas. And then show how it works, what makes it unique, the technology behind it, right? So this is that like descriptive summary that tells me like how I'm going to take this information and actually turn it into a new video. And this is cool. And this is in this JSON format. And now you can see, again, these key value pairs, idea, description, right? So now we can grab these pieces. And if we just go back into Airtable, I had created a second table in here. So I'm just going to call this start from scratch. And we can just call this new ideas. And basically, I'm going to edit this field. I'm going to make this long text. I'm just going to call this idea. And I'm going to call this description to match what we have going on in make.com. So we don't need these. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And if we're in make.com now, we can create a new record using Airtable. Go ahead and grab this, go to our working Airtable connection. The base again is going to be our TikTok ideas base. And now the table, we should have a new table in here called new ideas that we just set up. Go ahead and click that. And now for the idea, you can see here, we can grab the idea. And we can grab the description. So this is why we outputted it in JSON format and then parsed the JSON so that we have access to these individual fields and can plug them into Airtable. So I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. And let's just run this one more time. And so you can see how incredibly powerful this is to take a look at what other creators are doing out there, what's working for them, what's resonating with their audience. If this is in the field that you're interested in creating content on, it's likely that if you create content around these same themes, you're going to see success the same way that these creators have, right? So identify who is working, what type of content is working for them. And then you can go ahead and scrape these profiles. You can see this takes only a couple of seconds to run. Again, you could run this every month, every week, every morning. And again, I'm just using this to generate new ideas. But like if you have these concepts and these titles and this much data coming from these videos, there's a million different use cases for how you could use it, right? So just a couple seconds, this ran through. And if we come into our database here, now you can see we have all these new ideas, right? So we can talk about ChatGPT's new Canvas mode, which if you haven't tried it, it's awesome. Tells us to explore the new GPT Canvas mode, which is a game-changing feature for drafting and generating content. highlight its benefits, and provide a tutorial on how to use it effectively, include user tips and common pitfalls to avoid. And so if I went out and made a video about this, I would likely see some success because it's already identified that something around these topics or these themes is working for creators in my niche, like similar types of creators. And so this would likely resonate with the audience as well. So this is a way to see in this table what's working, what's being really effective, right? And instead of just stealing these ideas, we're taking them and creating brand new topics around similar themes that we can then create content from. So if you like this video and you want to see more, let me know in the comments what else you'd like for me to automate. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.